Angela Merkel is presenting a media prize on behalf of German welfare organizations. And she's in her element. The crowd is friendly and no one's asking her about Greece or questioning her leadership skills. But then that's not necessary. The Chancellor expertly segues from charity to crisis all by herself.
Living on credit and making debts are also questions of fairness. Take Greece. I've just come from a parliamentary group session where we've been discussing this. When a country is forced to make changes, that very often affects the poorest of the poor, not those who've already made off with lots of money.
But Merkel doesn't launch into a tirade about taxing the rich or how to stop money pouring out of Greece. She doesn't try to provoke or seduce her audience. And they appreciate that.
I really like her genteel reticence and her knowledge that she doesn't flaunt her power and isn't condescending or standoffish. She acts as a balance. She's got what it takes. She's self-assured and she knows what she wants.
That might be true. But her critics are calling for more decisive action from the Chancellor, who tends to procrastinate and make her decisions at the final hour.
She has withdrawn even more into herself. The moments where she shows emotion and makes personal statements are less frequent than ever, and that makes them stand out, of course.
One such moment came at a meeting with her parliamentary group discussing the first direct payment of 730 million euros to Greece. Once again, Merkel had to get the members of her party on board.
Die Kanzlerin
It was the first time I saw the Chancellor allude to bilateral talks, for example, with Greece about a possible exit. She did it in her slightly tomboyish fashion, as if to say, "Do you honestly think you can do this? Or would you rather try a different approach?"
Without the euro, perhaps? Both Merkel and Greek Prime Minister Antonis Samaras know that debt-stricken Greece is better off under the protection of the eurozone safety net. Somehow, Greece will have to follow Merkel's lead and muddle on.
Here, as in many other cases, thoroughness comes before speed. Calm and collected. On the other hand, a thorough job.
And then comes the backpedaling. Direct cash injections for Greece, for example, were long considered taboo. Now Merkel has to approve them. Incremental changes in her stance are typical of Angela Merkel, but they're hardly noticeable if the positions themselves are unclear.
She's always accused of not explaining things enough. That's true. But on the other hand, it means that she avoids committing herself and doesn't have to ward off any reproaches afterwards. At the most, she faces the reproach of having explained too little, but not of having said one thing yesterday and another thing the day before that, and then doing something different tomorrow.
In this way, Angela Merkel even manages to surprise her audience by making a comment that's untypically bold and brash.
This government is the most successful one since German unification.
Even the foreign minister and the president of the Bundestag have to smile. While the government as a whole is considered weak and ineffective, the Chancellor maintains her popularity. 2 out of 3 Germans are happy with her work.
I don't think people notice her zigzagging as much as insiders do. She's still seen as someone who ensures stability and solidarity. And the general consensus is that no one else could do a better job. There's really no alternative to Merkel.
Per Steinbrück, the Social Democrats' challenger to Merkel in the next election, would take a similar approach to European policy. He'd just talk more about it. All Steinbrück can do is mock Merkel's style.
Madam Chancellor, you must have acquired the ability to sit things out somewhere. This tendency to avoid taking a stance, remain undercover, and then jump on the most popular bandwagon.
But the representatives of Germany's charities, like many other people, like Angela Merkel precisely because she's cautious and avoids taking risks. They appreciate her quiet and reticent approach.